Hey everyone, what's going on? It's E-Rock here, and I'm super excited to be celebrating in advance an amazing event that's going to be taking place in Florida. And I'm with the gentleman that had the vision and foresight and the wherewithal and the audacity to put together an event that's reuniting a brand, an iconic brand from generations ago, and bringing it back and celebrating and cherishing its history. These gentlemen are helping to organize the Mickey Mouse Club reunion event, their 30-year anniversary, and we're with the executive producers, and we wanted to be able to get their insights and share their stories. So Dale, thank you for being here. Chase, thank you for being here. Dale, maybe you want to share with like what brought on the inspiration to even try to pull this thing off.
Well, the inspiration is the guy sitting on the phone with us here on video, Chase in Hampton, my brother. I joined the Mickey Mouse Club over 20 years ago, almost 28 years ago, something like that. But the groundwork had been laid, 30 years ago. And when it came around that the 30th anniversary was happening, Chasen, who was there at the very beginning, reached out to me and said, "Hey, man, would you like to, get involved? If we're going to do it, now's the time to do it." And, we had a conversation about bringing more meaning to it than it already had, which was to basically the Mouseketeers coming home to give back to Central Florida and benefiting two outstanding charities, One Pulse Foundation and Give Kids World Village. And that got me really excited. And then it's just been off to the races since.
Well, so Chasen, do you want to add anything to how this came to pass?
He nailed it, but it's one of those things we've been kind of seeding our fans for a long time. We've always wanted to do something like this every year. It comes around, another reunion, another year has gone by, and Dale and I especially have been trying to spearhead that probably for a decade or more, trying to bring the Mickey Mouse Club back in different ways, and not even in a reunion sense. But we know the importance of it. We see the effect it's had on our fans, and it's just been such an amazing thing. So it just made sense, and the organicness of it was incredible. Like Dale mentioned, we decided, the best way to do this is to give back to the community that took care of us when we were there. We were in Orlando. We went to school in Orlando. We were enrolled in Orlando schools, and it just made sense. And I was hanging out with a friend, a mentor of mine in Orlando, Kim Dawson, who was one of the first producers of the Mickey Mouse Club during the pilot. And he bolted out because he decided he was going to do a movie about a bunch of turtles. And we thought he was nuts when he decided to do that. We were like, "You're crazy." But he was one of the guys who brought the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles onto the big screen. But he's been a great mentor of mine. And he said, what would be a great organization is the One Pulse Foundation. It totally represents who we were. And it really hit right then. You're 100% correct. That is 100%. We were doing no hate, no bullying, diversity, inclusion. It was an incredible fit. And I think fate put us there. Dale reached out just randomly and said, "Hey, let's just give it a try." I'm gonna pick up the phone and make that call, and got in touch with a wonderful man who said, "You know what? While you guys are in town, why don't you come by to a town hall? And we have the mayor here, and we would like to invite you guys to a town hall." We're like, "Okay, we don't even know how to dress, but let's go." And we ended up at a town hall, and it was an amazing speeches we saw about hate and bullying and inclusion by the mayor, Buddy Dyer, and the former mayor, Teresa Jacobson. And it was just an incredible time. And before you know it, we were in our little private reception, and the guy from One Pulse says, "I got somebody real important I think you should meet." And he turned around, we turned around, and we could tell that we were supposed to know each other. And it was the president of Walt Disney World, George Karagridis. And he was an incredible man. He's on the chair. We didn't even know this, but he's on the chair for the foundation. Just fate. And we just poured our heart out to him and told him what we were trying to do. And funny enough, Dale's been reaching out for months, trying to figure out how we navigate this humongous corporation. Who do we call? There's, what number do we find? hitting all our connections and just coming up dead end. And then here we were, when we decided to give, we received. And it was the coolest thing, you know. It was really a neat moment. And we were hugging, like we were just like, all right, this is great. And
Yeah.
he was, you know, and at that point I was like, welcome home. You know, this is the way to do it. Open arms from Disney, and let's put this back where it should be.
So it's amazing because, you know, it's not just something like that was kind of haphazardly put together, you know, maybe at like, I don't know, any one of the thousands of hotels across the country, but you're going to be at one of the most iconic, like well-known, favorited places and cherished places in the world. You're going to be actually at Walt Disney World in Florida, correct?
That is correct. At Epcot, the World Showplace Pavilion. And it, you know, like to Chase's point, it's perfect because it's really Disney's ambassadors coming home. And Disney Event Group is helping to execute some amazing production elements for the show, above and beyond the fireworks that you get at Epcot. And but we've got an amazing team to bring a once-in-a-lifetime experience to anyone that comes to join us. And, you know, look, you know, I had launched a fan, I'll call it a fan page, but it really is a community online called Always in the Club about 6 years ago, almost 7 years ago. And the idea behind it was once in the club, always in the club. And the idea was if the Mickey Mouse Club had a social media account back then, what would that look like? It would be representative of all Mouseketeers equally. It would be engaging with the fans. And the fans' response was extraordinary. It even surprised me. And over the last 7 years or so, we've cultivated a trust, and I felt a tremendous responsibility to that fan base. But when Chasen announced with Always in the Club that we were doing it, more so than me, Always in the Club and Chasen, there was a certain authenticity that was, okay, this is coming together from the inside out. And then it took us, better part of 9 or 10 months before we were able to officially announce our collaboration with Disney. So we had built up a tremendous amount of excitement and momentum, and I had gotten excited and I was ready to go. And then finally, when we were able to share that, hey, guess what? We're doing this with Disney. I think it just really took everything to the next level and really made it all crystallize in the way that it was supposed to be, you know?
Awesome. So Dale, I want to ask you, I want to go through a series of questions with you about your experience and history with the Mickey Mouse Club. Would you mind sharing with our audience how you actually got started as a Mickey Mouse Club member?
Sure. Like a lot of the Mouseketeers, I was plucked out of obscurity in a small town called Plano, Texas, just outside of Dallas. This was at the tail end of season 3 of the show. They were doing the rounds looking for a new batch of Mouseketeers. And it was a lot like American Idol, where it was a big cattle call. And it was on the radio, and my mom heard about it on the radio, asked me, hey, do you want to go in and be a Mouseketeer? And I was like, a what? And she explained what it was, because I did not watch the show. So I was a young actor at the time. I was doing a lot of local stuff and nothing major, you know. For me, it was like, hey, a job. Sounds cool. And I just prepared a number that I later found out was a song that actually Chasen did on the show, because they told you what to prepare. And it was about, I want to say it was several thousand kids in that room in Dallas, Texas at the hotel. And they whittled us down to just a handful of us. We did our shtick. I think they saw about 30,000 that round of auditions around the country. Ultimately, they saw 100,000 kids through the whole 7 seasons. But that round was about 20 or 30,000 kids. And so after the audition, you know, I just, some months went by, and then finally we got a call. Hey, you're in the final running. We want to fly you out to Los Angeles, put you up for 3 days to do an audition camp. And I was like, that is awesome. So, came out here to LA. It was I was in the round of kids with JC Chazet from NSYNC, Tony Luca, Rona Bennett from En Vogue. There's a lot of great people in there. Matt Morris, some amazing people in that round of kids. And we did 3 days of intensive singing, dancing, acting. And ultimately went home, and they made me wait another series of months. And then out of the blue one day, I get a call, and Matt Casella, calls. My mom answers the phone, and she hands the phone to me and says that somebody wants to talk to you. And Matt Casella, the casting director that found all of us, says, Dale, you got it. And I'll never forget that moment, because it was a precursor to what would be the next 5 years of my life, which was months of intensive. It took focus. There was no quick decisions made. It was a marathon, even to get the role. 3 days of, long hour days to get the role, and then you got it. And it was the first lesson that I learned in hard work equals success. And I started season 4 and ran through the end to season 7. And I believe I am the oldest Mousekeeter on record, meaning I was the oldest one to be a Mousekeeter while still on the Mickey Mouse Club, except for Chasen, who had become our host in the final season. So, yeah, man, it was that was my journey, and changed my life, and sent me, and it really set the tone for everything that I'm doing even today.
Well, you talked a lot about the hard work, right? So obviously it was an arduous process to become a Mickey Mouse Club member. Tell us a little bit about the journey of, and let's do it from an entrepreneurial perspective, right? Because like today I like to talk about the fact that the entrepreneur is kind of the new rock star, right? Mm-hmm. What was the most important lesson that you felt you took away, or that you learned as a result of being a Mousekeeter?
Oh, well, I think I touched on it all the way back at the, from my experience all the way back at the audition process, which was hard work matters, and hard work is rewarded. As an entrepreneur, or as just a person in life, you have to get base hits. You've gotta see fruits of labor. It's hard to visualize what something can be unless you can get a taste of what it's going to be along the way. And I think that is important anytime you're putting together any kind of business or pursuing anything. You want to know that, you're on the right track. And that experience of waking up every morning, going through training, really business training as well, because as an example, we were vigorously trained on PR and how to represent, one of the most iconic brands in history, which was Mickey Mouse and the Mickey Mouse Club brand and the Disney Corporation as a whole. We were taught that this is a responsibility and not to be taken lightly. And so that sort of training began to help you understand not only your responsibility, but also you begin to understand that it's not just about you, particularly as entrepreneurs or even as artists. We think that it's just us. It's about our vision. Yes, but nothing happens in a vacuum. It's all about creating the right team, collaborating with that right team, respecting that team. One of the things I learned above and beyond knowing that hard work pays off is that as an entrepreneur, I try to approach my team with the sense that I work for them, not that they work for me. Certainly, it's your job to impart a certain amount of authority and drive the ship. But make no mistake about it, as the entrepreneur, you have to lead by example. And by example means working longer than anyone. It means putting up your own money if necessary. And it means being available to your team to help them accomplish their goals so that they can be successful. And I think every great entrepreneur would probably have that within their modus operandi.
Well, so let's talk about, like, we talked about the origins and then like the transition and like your experience and like the lessons learned. What has that led you to you being able to do today from a career or professional perspective?
Absolutely. Well, there's two tracks in my life that I'm very proud of. There's what I'm doing in the nonprofit sector and what I'm doing in the for-profit sector. And my life's goal and my mission is to collaborate them in unique and supportive ways of each other. So as a producer and as a film financier, I've been very fortunate to work on a number of projects. Most recently, we launched a new franchise of feature-length films with the creator of the Final Destination franchise. The franchise is called Superstition, exploring various superstitions from around the world. And the first film was called The Final Wish. And we're really excited about that because it's all about brand building with this film. We have, I would say, a world that we want to explore that ranges from superstitions on genies from the Middle East, the jinn, to Carnival, to voodoo, to step on a crack, break your mother's Mac, to the Friday the 13th. And so there's a wealth of content out there that we're going to be able to explore. And we just finished our first film, came out, did very well. Now we're rolling into our next film. Here's the connection to the Mouse Club. When I was on the Mouse Club, it was very important that we were socially conscious, and everything that we did always seemed to have a bigger purpose behind it beyond just entertaining kids. We were exploring the environment and the various concerns that go along with climate change and pollution. We did a whole segment on race relations. Where we had Jesse Jackson come on the show. We were honoring outstanding young people from all over the country with our Hall of Fame Day. And so what I wanted to do was, you've got this for-profit television show that had all of these socially conscious elements. For the film that I was doing, inspired by my time on the Mickey Mouse Club, we infused partnerships with various organizations and to give back to communities with our film revenue. 10% of our revenue goes to philanthropic endeavors around the world, specifically inspired by my time on the Mickey Mouse Club.
Well, that's awesome. It's so good to hear that, not only did being a part of the Mickey Mouse Club help you where you got to go, but give back at the same time and have a positive social impact is amazing. So let's talk a little bit about like what it's like in today's modern age, right? Like, back then you're starring on a show that's getting global distribution on really one of the biggest platforms in the world at the time. And now today we have social media. Anybody can jump on a smartphone and start casting and kind of getting their message out there. And a lot of people are having success by like just kind of being entertainers of their own right. And so for entrepreneurs that are trying to be successful in today's modern age, what would be the one tip or nugget that you would give them that you would feel would help them to be successful in their endeavor?
Well, I think this really isn't just because of social media. I think it's really because of where we are today as a society. Authenticity is critical. Having a voice that is real, not just trying to manufacture reality. You've got a generation of kids that see right through traditional marketing. That doesn't work anymore. And you even see it with the bigger corporations hiring kids to figure out how to communicate to their audience. And the reason that kids are so effective right now and I say kids, I say anyone under 25. The reason they're so effective is because that's all they know is an authentic voice from the companies that they're working with. So when you're exploring your social media strategies, when you're exploring all of your marketing strategies, when you're exploring your general marketing effort, I think you have to start not with how can I deliver a product, how can I sell this product? What you have to start with is how is my product relevant to my audience? And it's a subtle conversation that you have with yourself, because if you start there, you begin to naturally get into a dialogue with your audience, because you're asking questions as much as you're, delivering answers. And that's really the difference. Back in the day, they used to sit around in a room and figure these things out in a bubble and say, this is what I think they want, and I'm going to sell them on this, and I'm going to tell them this is what they need. Now you have to be responsive to what they're telling you they need and they want. You have to be paying attention, because if you are paying attention, they're going to tell you. And I think that's just a critical adjustment between then and now in this modern social media driven age.
Great insights. And so obviously, being the executive producer, one of the co-executive producer of the Mickey Mouse Club reunion event, what gets you excited and motivated to put this event together, manage all the logistics, and then how in the world were you able to corral and herd and coordinate the schedules of literally dozens of Mouseketeers? And then why would someone who's interested in maybe considering attending and participating in the event themselves, what would you tell those people about why they should attend?
You dropped for. I'm sorry. You dropped for a second, my friend. Your sound dropped for a second. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. So what I was asking is as a co-executive producer for the Mickey Mouse Club reunion event, right, the 30-year celebratory event, what gets you motivated to put together this event? How are you able to corral and herd and bring together dozens of Mouseketeers to be able to come and coordinate the timing of the event? And then for those that might be considering to attend as guests, what would you tell them about why they should want to attend?
I'll tell you what motivates me. Two things. And it's about 99.99% of it. The fans and my brothers and sisters that are the Mouseketeers. Over the years, I've had the honor and the privilege of being really engaged with them through the Always in the Club community page. And I began to hear stories about how, there were young women and men that were going through very difficult times in their youth, and they would turn on the television at a certain time every afternoon and either forget their problems or gain friends. There were young people that felt bullied at school, but they felt safe watching the Mickey Mouse Club. There were so many fans that shared with me how much they learned from the show, whether it be from the about the environment or race relations or music, dancing. I began to understand that this was more than a TV show. This was, we were brothers and sisters to them. We were their next door neighbors. We were their best friends. And this means a lot to so many people out there. And so to give them something that they can, really be in this moment and not only just go back to their childhood, but sort of an opportunity for me to say thank you and for me to recognize that there is no us without them, and to give back that kind of love is everything to me. the other reason, the other thing that really drives me to do this is when we began to reach out to the other Mouseketeers about what we wanted to do, and the overwhelmingly positive responses we got from all of the Mouseketeers. You know, there were times when I got a little teary-eyed because, you know, it's more than a reunion. It is, many of these people I haven't seen since we were kids, and we all went through this really unique and interesting and different experience that nobody else can identify with but each other. So, I mean, we are all in this life, this experience together that only we can understand from each other. So, you know, to do this for them, to do everything I can to help provide that platform for my brothers and sisters is everything to me. So what I hope to get out of this is just that the audience and the fans feel the genuine connection that I know we're all going to have at this reunion and at this celebration. I want everyone to have a good time. I want everybody to go back to when they were kids, particularly if you were a kid of the 90s. You know, we are doing a lot to put you back in that space and have that moment. And I also am looking forward to, you know, I'm looking forward to people recognizing what people like Chasen did as being in the first season, and the groundwork that they laid that really set so many things into motion. You're talking about a Disney Channel at the time that was it was a pay channel. I've looked at some of the numbers. I think there was only, you know, very few viewers when they first came on the air. Very soon, the Mickey Mouse Club was one of their first shows, and they were a significant part of growing that brand into something that we see today. Later, you know, there would be no NSYNC if, you know, two of the members hadn't met on the Mickey Mouse Club. You know, Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera got a lot of their training during that time frame. Nikki DeLoach, an amazing actress, Rona Bennett from En Vogue, all of these people that have gone on to do extraordinary things, all got their start in a place that the kinks had been worked out. Let's put it that way. So in the first couple seasons when Chase was down there, you know, they had a lot of kinks to work out. By the time I came in, it was a well-oiled machine. And it was an academy. It was a masterclass in entrepreneurship, public relations, dancing, acting, singing, philanthropy. And it was a foundation for, I think, what everyone is doing today. And we have Disney to thank for that, because they were very aware of what they had and what they needed to do. And they spent a lot of time imparting on us the importance of our place here. And I soaked that up. And so I'm looking forward to celebrating with Disney this 30 years of a very unique relationship, and spotlighting really not only how important they've been in my life, but really how important Disney has been to a generation of people worldwide.
Excuse me. Apologies. All right. So yeah, thank you so much for the insightful response. And I hope it compels a lot of people that are Mickey Mouse or Disney fans to participate in the celebration. So obviously you've been able to connect with some pretty successful people, people of fame, fortune, notoriety. But let's talk a little bit outside the realm of Walt Disney World and Mickey Mouse and the club. If there was one person who's still with us here today that you would like to connect with and meet, who would that person be?
Wow. Honestly, it would be probably. I have to pick one.
You have to start with one. If you want to add another one, you can.
I'm going to start with. I'm going to start with Oprah Winfrey. Honestly, I've never had the pleasure of meeting her. I just think what she represents, where she's come from, when we talk about success from the inside out and authenticity, there's a reason that people connect with her. And I'm in awe of that woman. I'd love to have a conversation with her. She's an extraordinary human being.
Well, maybe she's a Disney fan. I'm sure she is. And maybe she's a huge Mickey Mouse Club fan. And maybe we can find a way to get this message out to her so that maybe she would want to somehow find a way to participate in the festivities.
That'd be amazing.